Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Ask Yankton Sports, where people on Twitter can submit questions to sports editor James Simbrick or myself, Jeremy Hoik, and we will get to those questions. Last week was our first week. We had a handful of questions, and this week we're starting to get more people to send us some questions, and we've got 4 topics or questions to get to, and what we'll do in this video is you guys can just submit them to us, and we will discuss them on Wednesdays in lieu of the weekly sports chat.
And how you submit them is you go on Twitter, use the hashtag AskYanktonSports, and we'll get that and we'll choose our questions for the week. First one comes from former Coyote Andre Fields, wanting to know why Vermilion hasn't done more to attract businesses using the university as an attraction. It compares what Brookings has done with South Dakota State.
And the inference there, I think I would agree with that. We've talked about this before with other topics. I don't know why. I don't know if they purposely do not. They don't certainly use it against visitors, but certainly when he's talking Brookings, there's obviously more to do. There's more restaurants. There's more things for families to do. Whereas Vermilion it's a smaller town, and they rely on people to come to the games, go to the games, and most likely those people drive home.
Well, and I think what the other thing he's referring to is there's more of a connection between Brookings and South Dakota State than there is between Vermilion and University, and that's just I think that's just a matter of the community reaching out to the university and vice versa to kind of make things happen there. Second question is also a USD question from Daniel Doyle, wondering, looking for a recruiting update for men's basketball regarding specifically the remaining scholarship for 14.
We got this question last week from Daniel, and the honest answer is there is no update there. They are still looking for another guy. There's another spot, as he points out, the remaining scholarship. There is another spot open for the 2014-15 season, and I know it's a boring answer, but really there is no update now, but we'll keep an eye on it.
And next question comes to us from Jim Poppin, happens to be from Pierre, but he's asking what new wrinkle Yankton football coach Arlen Lickness is going to throw out there this season. Coach Lickness, if you don't already know, is notorious for throwing some wrinkles out there. This past year, the big one was actually using 3 quarterbacks on the field at once. And just for scouting purposes, all 3 of those kids are back. Although I don't know how much the 3 quarterback set will be used next year.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can't use it all the time. It worked for the first game, certainly, and they tried it, sparingly after that. But like you said, he'll find a new way. He's a crafty old guy. He'll find a new way to I would imagine, like you said, they've got 3 capable quarterbacks to maybe mix in some different running formations, I would imagine. The line is going to be an issue, so they have to work around the line.
Yeah, and Mason Strahl really took over as the main quarterback last year.
Yes.
Brady Hale, just a tremendous athlete. I could see him filling that J.J. Hanna role on as a receiver on offense. And Reed Swansky, capable backup as a quarterback. With Lane Swatsky graduating, you could see him as the starting kicker this year. So some very good personnel coming back, especially in the skill positions.
Mm-hmm.
And final question comes to us from Ron Millar. What he asked was, seems like South Dakota baseball ages 14 to 18 is dying a slow death. Do we agree? And what needs to change? I would say yes, it is, but it's because our smaller towns are dying a slow death. I just in the brief 20 years that I've been here, there's a lot fewer area teams out there competing, and it's just because there aren't enough kids.
Right, and we talk about Legion baseball all the time and how that impacts something like amateur baseball, and certainly you're seeing fewer towns being able to field a Legion baseball team, and of course that would trickle down into to the lower levels, and there's just not a lot of kids to get out for baseball anymore.
Yeah, and the only way you fix that is, it's just a dynamic of small towns. 50 years ago, farm families were having 8, 10, 12 kids, and now families are having 1 or 2 kids.
Right.
And that's a big part of why small towns are fading. There's nothing to be done about it other than small towns recruiting businesses and individuals to build up their towns.
And maybe it's cyclical too. Maybe, you know, this is a trend where it's maybe trending downward. Maybe eventually it'll start to creep back up where, you know, some of these area towns can field full teams and not have to, you know, have these kids go elsewhere. Or you know, I don't know. That's my
And hopefully we see a lot of these small towns, because that's a big part of our work is covering small town athletics, and it's a very fun part. We get to cover a lot of great kids outside of the Yankton and Vermilion areas. So that wraps it up for this week. Again, if you want to send us a question for next week, just use the hashtag #AskYanktonSports, and if we like it, we'll get it in there. For Jeremy Hoyk, I'm James Simbrick.